Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Hello, everybody. We are back on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, no matter or wherever you are watching us. And we are back with some updates on this storm. Now, I was on with you guys a couple hours ago, and we were talking about most areas seeing snow and a couple towns in southern York County seeing wintry mix, sleet, freezing rain. Now, we are seeing a lot of areas in the southern part of the state looking at some freezing rain. I stepped outside in Portland about 20-30 minutes ago, and we did have freezing rain falling, temperature of 30 degrees here at the station. A lot of places in the southern part of the state right now are looking at freezing rain. There are some spots down towards the immediate coastline, especially in the far southern part of the state, that are already looking at just plain rain. A lot of places up to the north, though, are looking at a lot of snow, and that is expected to continue. But the trend has really worked out exactly how we thought it would, where it would go from snow this morning, early afternoon, and then transition to some sleet, some freezing rain. Now, right now, the stage that we're in is the freezing rain, at least in the southern part of the state. The freezing rain eventually changing to just plain rain for a lot of areas along the coastline. If you're in Lewiston, Augusta area, I usually like to use those two towns because in that general vicinity, areas 20, 30, 40 miles inland, whatever, a lot of places like that are going to stay a wintry mix before changing back to some rain. And so we are going to continue to see these, rain and freezing rain fall. But areas that are what looks like rain falling right now could certainly be freezing rain. So just keep that in mind. Let's get a look outside in gray. And if you were with me earlier a couple hours ago, I was having those technical difficulties. I fixed it. We're good. This is now going to work so I can use a much bigger screen, which I'm excited about. So we're getting some reports in. I'm going to talk about this, and then we are going to get back into the forecast. It's raining in Gorham. Lisa, I want to say it's probably freezing rain in Gorham right now. We had temperature of 30 degrees in Portland. It might have dropped or bumped up to 30, 31, depending on if you're downtown versus on the north side of Portland. But it's probably freezing rain. So what looks like rain is probably freezing rain right now. So please keep that in mind. You just want to go out there and you just look to see if your car if your car has ice on it, it's certainly freezing rain. Mix right now in Randolph, Maine. Thank you, Carolyn, for that. What else do we have? Rain in Sanford. Sanford, you're kind of probably on the line as well. You're looking at probably maybe a little bit of freezing rain, but we are going to see this mix continue. Freezing rain in Brunswick. Thank you for that report, Lois. And snowing in Bridgeton right now. Look at you guys. I love all these reports. But let's get back to the forecast and talk about what's going on. So right now outside in gray, the temperature is 27 degrees. Keep those reports coming, though, because I am reading over them as we are talking. 27 degrees in gray right now. You can see the roads look wet, so overall, not too bad, but they might also be icy. So just keep that in mind as we head through the next couple hours and up towards areas like the headlight right now. Portland headlight, temperature's only 30 degrees according to this, so we are looking at temperatures around or just below the freezing mark. And again, we do have a situation where you could be at the Portland headlight. And believe it or not, I actually think that 30-degree reading is probably taken at the Jetport. It's just Portland's temperature in general, not specific to the headlight, because there's no temperature gauge at the headlight that at least the National Weather Service uses. Now, we are going to see this rain continue and freezing rain continue over the next couple hours. And I showed you this time lapse earlier. I'll show you it again. And you can just see through the day in Naples, we had a lot of snow throughout the morning. And, most of the afternoon as well, but it could be transitioning even up towards Naples, possibly into a little bit of a wintry mix right now. And I'm going to show you guys some snow reports that we have seen. This is as of 2 o'clock. I was making this around 2 o'clock. Now, bear in mind that some of these reports came in around 12:45 in the afternoon or 1 o'clock. So these are not perfect numbers, but it gives you an idea of about what we've seen. And the Portland Jetport did record around 5 inches of snow. Again, this was as of around 1:30, but we have not gained too much snowfall over the last hour and a half, if any, at the Portland Jetport. 7.3 in Acton, 5.5 in Westbrook. As you head up to a little bit further to the north, 8 inches over towards Porter. Once you head down towards Lewiston, 6.3 inches. A lot of places in this vicinity, around a half foot of snow. And that's about actually what we were thinking, because this is right on the line of that 3 to 6, 5 to 9 inch range. And when you have, when you're right on the line of it, you do get a lot of numbers right around that, right around the middle of it, and that would be around 6 inches of snow. And then we had 5 inches over towards Topsom. These are just some of the reports that we have seen so far. Again, we will continue to update that through the afternoon. Now let's talk about this satellite and radar, and we're going to take a little bit of a tour. And let's start in the southern part of the state right now. You can see it's been raining in Portsmouth for the last several hours, just plain rain. And then you can see even down towards, I'll pause this radar right now. Places like Kennebunkport, York, Wells right now looking at just plain rain. And again, this radar is not perfect. It's not going to show exactly what's happening. Sometimes it does struggle with, it struggles sometimes when you have a raindrop falling. But sometimes it's hard to tell, is it a freezing raindrop or is it just a plain raindrop? And these radars are not perfect, but it does show you that places down towards the immediate coastline are now looking at rain. Head up towards the Portland region right now, you're looking at some freezing rain, especially on the north side of Portland. And then we are going to see, if you're down towards maybe parts of Cape Elizabeth, some of the islands up here as well, you could be looking at some plain rain right now. It just depends how close you are to the coastline. But let's continue this track up to the mid-coast. And once you get towards Booth Bay Harbor, Rockland right now, looking at pretty much just plain rain at the moment. But I think everybody should prepare as if the rain falling is freezing rain, because, you can't be too careful, I guess, right? And then over towards Deer Isle, Bar Harbor, places like that, it is rain, but head up to the north. Bangor, you're certainly looking at snow right now. Lewiston and Augusta, you are looking at some snow at the moment. And, I'm looking at this as you guys are as well. And it looks like some pretty heavy snow falling in and around the Augusta area right now. I don't know if anybody's watching this from Augusta, but you can see that we are looking at some heavier precipitation at the moment. And let's head on over towards places like Freiburg. You're looking at snow right now. And I did get a report. I forgot the exact town. I did get a report of, it was somebody from work, one of the engineers from work right around this area, actually looking at some sleet. So again, this is not a perfect radar in these types of setups. It's just how it works. And we're going to actually see a different radar in about 2 seconds. I'm going to show you that. But I also wanted to show you up towards the north, Rangeley, Jackman, Rumford, places like that. This is an all snow event for you guys. If you see any sleet, it's very brief and it would happen probably in the next couple hours. But I would say this is generally a snow event for everybody really in this area. If you're anywhere in here, this is a snow event for you guys, and it is going to stay snow for the entire duration. I'm sure a lot of places, well, it depends if you want the snow or not. I just saw somebody mention something about Augusta. Okay, so actually, look at this. I love when what I say is confirmed. It makes me happy. Catherine, this is a different comment. Will Gorham switch back to snow? Yes, Gorham's going to switch back to snow probably later on this evening and tonight. I think it's rained through about 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then it will transition back. This is the comment I meant to pull up. Stephen, heavy snow in Augusta, and Sydney saying, yes, from Augusta, big flakes. Yes, we are looking at some pretty heavy snow in the Augusta region right now. But let's continue again with this forecast. And actually, no. we're going to show you the correlation coefficient is what it's called. I know that sounds pretty confusing, but I was breaking this down a little bit earlier, so maybe you guys understand. But but I'll explain it again for any new people. Anybody here, anywhere here that you see these bright banding is what it's called. That's where the sleet is falling. And, it's pretty cool to be able to look at these kinds of things because that radar beam that you see that's just continually going around, it's actually centered in gray. Where that radar beam is going around, it's picking up on what type of precipitation is falling. And when it falls as sleet is more dense than a snowflake. And, it just falls and pings off your car, it pings off your coat, your head, everything. So as that sleet pellet falls through the radar beam picks up on it and it can tell, oh, this is a lot more dense. It's a lot harder than a snowflake. So it comes in on this radar as a different color. So you can see exactly where the sleet line is set up. And it's anywhere south of this line, right about here. Anywhere south of here, all of this area right there, you're looking at either sleet or you're looking at some freezing rain or rain. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's sleet here, but anywhere in this area, you're probably looking at freezing rain, maybe some rain right now. So anywhere south of that line that I made about 5 seconds ago, that's where the wintry mix is. And that is going to continue for the next several hours before eventually we do transition back to some snow on the backside of this system. So it's really cool to be able to see these types of things. But now even Lewiston, Augusta, you're just on the northern fringe of it. So I saw some people mentioning something about Augusta, some heavy snow in Augusta right now. But just south of it, you can see here, the sleet line is probably right about here, give or take. So you're not too far away. I would not be surprised to see that snow change to heavy sleet potentially in the next 20 minutes, give or take. We will see if that happens, of course. But let's continue now. Temperatures running in the lower 30s in the Portland area, Sanford, Wiscasset as well, which means to me, of course, that we are looking at that freezing rain or sleet falling at the moment. 27 degrees in Lewiston, 25 degrees in Augusta. All these temperatures up to the north, Rumford 23. Again, this is a snowstorm for you guys. Portsmouth right now, you are certainly looking at plain rain at 36 degrees. So this is a rain event for the next several hours, even pretty close to the duration of the event for areas like Portsmouth or if you're in the extreme southern part of the state. But places, again, that you see that are 30 degrees right now, you're not looking at plain rain. I can promise you that. If it's raining out, that wouldn't surprise me, but that means it's freezing rain at the moment. For example, Portland, it's 30 degrees, but it's raining outside. That means it's freezing rain right now. If you go outside, there's probably ice all over your car. You go check out the snow in your backyard, you probably have a nice crust of just ice on top of that snow, and that is certainly the freezing rain that is falling, and that continues to fall as we head through the next couple hours. Winter storm warning is up for most areas, and you can pretty much see why, of course, because, well, just look outside and you'll see why. But we are looking at that snow, sleet, freezing rain right now. And eventually, again, if you're right at the coastline, there are some areas already starting to look at just plain rain at the moment. A winter weather advisory for the southern York County area, and that's just simply because we've already transitioned over to rain. They saw less snow. They're going to see less freezing rain and sleet as well. And that's just, again, because more rain is going to fall in those regions. But everywhere where you see the winter storm warnings. And it's really like, if you were to talk to me, it's really like a dividing line, give or take. That was a very bad line. But, anywhere like south of the line, you have a winter storm warning for a wintry mix and just a mess. North of that yellow line, that is just all snow. That winter storm warning is just simply because it's going to be a lot of snow. But south of it, that's where we are going to see the freezing rain and the sleet and all that kind of stuff. So here is the forecast as we head through this evening. We are going to see rain for a few hours, I do think, even in the Portland area. If you're down towards the coast especially, we are going to see rain. 8 o'clock is the time frame, in my opinion, that we're going to really start to see that mixing line crash back down to the coastline. And I do think we are going to see a mix, freezing rain mix. I probably should have put that in this graphic, but I would say around 8 o'clock is when we start to see that transition back to some freezing rain. And then we're going to see freezing rain for a couple hours. I think that's the main precip down near and along the coastline. Even up through parts of Lewiston and Augusta, we are going to see some freezing rain and sleet during the late evening and early nighttime. And then on the backside is when we will see a transition back to snow for a little bit, maybe a dusting to another inch in some spots. But it does end, I would say the number that I'm going with for the ending time, you're probably talking 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., maybe 2 o'clock in the morning if you're in parts of central Maine. So here's 4:30. And you can see, again, rain for the coastline. You know, if you're in this area, about give or take anywhere south of that line, you're probably looking at plain rain at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. But anywhere north of it through the Lewiston and Augusta region, that's where it's going to generally be a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. North of that, that's where the snow is. And then again, I think 8 o'clock is the time that this starts to crash down to the south, and you can see that here, 9-10 o'clock, we're looking at freezing rain in some spots. A lot of the computer models are showing, you know, parts of down east, and this could include Rockland up through down east over here, you know, in this area being mostly rain. So I think that is, you know, something to keep in mind, I guess, if you're watching us from Rockland or you're in Bar Harbor. I don't think this freezing rain and sleet line will crash all the way south in that part of the state, but it certainly will in like areas like Portland, you know, up through Brunswick, Gorham, places like that. And then here's 11:30 at night. We have probably flipped back to snow, and we are going to stay snow for probably only another hour or so. So that's why I think we are going to see maybe a dusting to an inch on the backside of this storm, excuse me. And then it moves out of here. Look at this. The clouds clear out, and we will see some sunshine tomorrow. If you're hoping to get outdoors tomorrow, two things that I want to mention. One is it's not going to be very mild. It's probably going to stay in the low 30s through the day tomorrow, maybe mid 30s in some spots. But tomorrow morning, I don't think you should make plans to hit the roads too early because, well, things are probably not going to be too good with the freezing rain this evening and tonight. Also some snow. You know, the plows will be out all night too, I'm sure. But I would, if you could hold off, let the sun do its magic tomorrow morning. And I'm sure by 10, 11 o'clock, roads are pretty much just wet and then eventually will dry out. So this ice that we're looking at has already started. We're already starting to see, we have been seeing the freezing rain in Portland for the last hour and a half or so. So we are already starting to accumulate ice. We're looking at upwards of 1/4 of an inch. I think some spots will see upwards of 3/10 of an inch to maybe 4/10 of an inch. And if I had to pinpoint an area, or like, you know, it's pretty much right in this line, you know, I think this area has like some of the better chances of getting maybe 3/10 to 4/10 of an inch. I would say probably closer to 3/10, but most people will see a 1/10 to about 1/4 of an inch of ice. But that's plenty enough to cause some problems. Not too much, not enough to really cause many power outages though. I'm not anticipating very many power outages with this event because really two reasons. One, there's not much wind. There's actually very little to no wind across the state. But we're also really not looking at enough ice. If you really want the power outages, which of course nobody does, but if you really were looking at power outages, you need at least 1/2 inch of ice to really cause a lot of problems. Total snowfall accumulation, not additional snowfall. From what you have on the ground through tonight, this is total event. Because if I were to do, you know, additional, I mean, you'd be talking maybe a coating to an inch for most in southern Maine. But yeah, I'll show you again because honestly, I really like this forecast. And, you know, as you guys like to bust me and a lot of the meteorologists, not everybody, but some of you guys. No, I'm just messing. But, you know, our forecasts aren't always perfect. But this is actually working out really well. Just the way I've seen these reports coming in and everything. I mean, Portland saw between about 5 to 6 inches of snow, and we were right in the 3 to 6 range. Areas that we're up to, I think Lewiston is up to 6.3 as of about an hour ago. So a lot of these numbers are pretty correct for total snowfall and what we will see from the first snowflakes until the end. So I'm getting some reports too right now. Carly, you just messaged saying that we got about 9 inches in South Paris. See, there you go. I mean, so once you head up to further to the north, that's where we have more in the way of snowfall accumulation. Sleet in Leamington right now. Glenn, thank you for the report. A foot of snow in Greenwood. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Oh, look at this. Another big report. Robert coming in with 11 inches of snow in Norway. What else do we have? Samantha, so much for seeing in early spring. Yeah, not today. It will warm up a little bit this week. I don't have a 7-day forecast for you guys yet. I'm gonna how we'll have to do this is we're not on TV for the 6 o'clock. Yeah, I know, unfortunate, but college basketball is going to stop us from being on. We will be, or if you want, I'll do one more Facebook Live, Twitter Live. Again, we're on like multiple platforms right now. I'm going to do another one at like 7 o'clock. And, I'll give you guys one more update on things, especially because there is no 6 p.m. show on TV. But, yeah, we'll talk again at 7. But, I have a few more things that I want to get to because I want to talk about tomorrow's forecast, too. Let's get a look at tomorrow's forecast, and you can see much better. Temperatures only in the 30s, though. We are going to see, just a cool day. We should be in the low to mid 40s this time of the year. So we are going to see a chillier day tomorrow than what we should be. But at least the sun will be out at times, and it will certainly help melt a lot of this ice and snow that we have on the roads right now, because the roads are not very good. We'll go through the radar one more time. In case some people are just tuning in not too long ago, I'd like to talk about this because I know a lot of people want to know what's going on and what we are expecting. So let's take a look. Let me zoom in a little bit closer to places like Portsmouth. And you can see Portsmouth, Wells, Kennebunk, places like that, down towards the coast. This is rain right now. This is plain rain. If anybody's watching from Biddeford, I'd like to know what you guys are dealing with right now, because I think a lot of places like Biddeford, Saco, places like that, you're probably looking at a mix. Now I think you're right in the transition phase of, hey, you're looking at a little bit of sleet and freezing rain, probably freezing rain right now, but very soon it will transition over to just some plain rain. And then up towards the islands, this is all rain for the most part. But Portland, let's zoom into Portland. North side of Portland, probably looking at some freezing rain. If you're down towards Cape Elizabeth, it could just be plain rain at this point. It's tough to see these radars because, again, they don't do a perfect job in these setups, if I'm just being totally brutally honest with you guys. But we are going to see this wintry mix continue. Rockland, it's probably rain at this point, but, again, like I was saying, you just want to treat this as if every raindrop that's falling is freezing rain, because you can't be too careful. We do have some, again, I was mentioning Augusta region right now. Augusta, just north of Lewiston. We can even zoom in a little bit closer. We do have some heavier snow right now. Let's actually do that. Turner. Yeah, a lot of these places, Paris, South Paris, Livermore, looking at some steadier snow at the moment. And we are going to see this again continue for the next couple hours. We'll look at this one more time. Again, anybody I'm just explaining this to, I'm going to draw the wintry mix line right about here, where if you're south of this line, you are looking at sleet, freezing rain, and rain at the moment. Call it a wintry mix. If you're north of that line, Paris, places like Turner that we were just zooming in a little bit closer to, you are probably looking at just plain snow at the moment. And especially as you head further north, you are looking at just plain snow. And we will time out the future radar storm tracker right now. And then I'll get to some of your guys' comments and we'll get on out of here. But over the next couple hours, again, just prepare for the coastline. you will see some rain and freezing rain. I think it's just going to be, I think we're still looking at some freezing rain for places, especially on the north side of Portland. If you're near Falmouth, you're probably still looking at freezing rain right now. If you're in Cape Elizabeth, it might just be plain rain, but treat every raindrop like it's freezing to your car. That's what I would do. And as we head through the next couple hours, the rain line will move in a little bit further north. So this will overtake places like Wells and Kennebunk and Old Orchard Beach and Portland, Falmouth, Falmouth as well. Booth Bay Harbor, Rockland as well. You're probably looking at plain rain for the next couple hours. Once we get to about 8 o'clock, I think that freezing rain line crashes down to the south. We're going to see a period of moderate freezing rain during the evening and nighttime. 8 to about 11 o'clock, I think we are going to see this freezing rain for areas like Augusta, Portland. This computer model doesn't want to include Portsmouth. Portsmouth is tricky. I think you might see a little bit of freezing rain on the backside of this system, but I think it's really further north, especially once you get up towards Portland, where we have a better chance of seeing that freezing rain. And we are going to see a couple hours of it. So yes, things can get very slick during the nighttime. And if you're heading out before the sun really pokes out tomorrow, it's probably going to be very slippery out there. And then we have a little bit of snow on the backside. Maybe a quick dusting in some spots, dusting to an inch. That would be about it on the backside of this storm. And then I'm going to get to some of your guys' comments here. Auburn is sleet. Yes, there we go. So that actually works out perfect. Victoria saying that it's raining in Portland right now. You're probably right if you are downtown. If you're downtown, I think you're looking at rain. If you are closer to Falmouth, if you are Westbrook, Gorham, you're probably looking at freezing rain. But even in downtown Portland right now, just again, pretend it's all freezing rain because you don't want to go out there and be caught off guard. Dixfield seems like well over a foot. Yeah, I believe it. Snowing in Livermore. Thank you, Monica. What else do we have here? Freezing rain in Whitefield, Maine. About 6 inches of snow. What else do we have here? All right, so this is a good question. How much rain do you expect for the mid-coast? If you're in the mid-coast, you're going to see rain now through probably let's pick out Rockland because it's on the map. If you're in Rockland, I think you're starting to see rain now if you haven't already, and you are going to probably see rain through 9 o'clock. 9, 10 o'clock. I think it's just plain rain, 9 o'clock. We'll go 9 o'clock. And I do think 9 o'clock through about 11 or 12, you might see a little bit of freezing rain, at least a little bit of mix between rain and freezing rain. And then I would say a half hour of snow on the backside of the vent as it moves in or moves out. So that's about what we're looking at in the Rockland area for the mid-coast. Allie, I did touch on this a little bit, but I will mention it again. Anybody just tuning in. Power outage potential I don't think is too big of a deal. Just not enough ice and not enough snow for the southern part of the state. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. Casey, 10 inches in Naples. Wow. That's what I like to see. And then we'll get to one or two more comments here. Melissa, heavy snow in Oakland right now. When will it end in Skowhegan? Probably, I think, around the same time it will end because it's all just going to move in a line, so to speak. I would say it ends in the Skowhegan area 11 to 1 a.m. That's kind of the time frame I'm going for most areas to see this precipitation end is around 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., but certainly before tomorrow morning. But again, don't think the roads are going to be good tomorrow morning. I think early tomorrow it's going to be pretty ugly as well. Alan just commented here, 7 to 8 inches in Skowhegan. So yeah, that'll continue to increase as we head through the next couple hours. All right, I'm gonna head out of here. I will be back around 7 o'clock, and we'll do more of a full forecast. I'm gonna I'll have the 7-day forecast up. We'll do like a full forecast. So tune in at 7 o'clock. We'll do another radar tour, all that fun stuff, and have those reports ready. I love all the reports. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you at 7 if you'd like to tune in.